Let's begin with where Metrolinx wants us to begin, with some progress. Yes, believe it or not, progress is happening on the Eglinton Crosstown West Extension. Tunneling is now well underway, with the twin tunnel boring machines, charmingly named Rennie and Rexy, having made significant headway beneath Eglinton Avenue West, between Renforth Drive and Scarlet Road. As of mid-2025, they've passed beneath Martin Grove Road and are slowly making their way east, chewing through the dense soil and red tape in equal measure. There are 7 stations that are currently planned: Mount Dennis, Scarlet, Royal York, Islington, Kipling, Martin Grove, and Renforth. Each is in some stage of design, pre-construction, or early excavation. Utility relocations are in full swing. Roadwork is snarling traffic, as usual. Construction signage dots are in the corridors. From the street, you can tell something big is happening. Whether it's happening fast enough, well, that's a separate question, one that gets increasingly uncomfortable every time the word 2030 is uttered with a straight face. The estimated cost of the ECWE sits at around $4.7 billion, a number that will likely age like a banana in the sun if the original Crosstown is any example. Still, this extension is moving, albeit slowly, toward an opening sometime in the early 2030s. No precise date has been confirmed, obviously, because, of course, they've learned from their earlier mistakes and now prefer to give us what I call fuzzy optimism with a side of cautious denial. But let me ask you a question, and I want you to really think about it. What kind of city spends nearly $5 billion to build a rapid transit line within sight of its international airport and then doesn't bother to connect the line to the airport itself? If your answer is Toronto, then congratulations. You've won a Presto card with a one-way trip to Logic's graveyard. And if you've been following the headlines, or rather noticing the lack of them, you'll see one enormous critical forehead-slapping omission from this project. It's been there from the start. It's the hole in the middle of the donut, so to speak, the missing puzzle piece, the elephant in the tunnel. The train doesn't go to the airport. Let me say that again for the benefit of every commuter, every traveler, every Pearson Airport worker who's ever tried to get to the terminals by transit and nearly lost their will to live. The Eglinton Crosstown West Extension is not being built to reach Toronto Pearson International Airport. And how, in the name of basic urban logic, is that even possible? Toronto is spending nearly $5 billion to build a modern light rail line through Etobicoke, with state-of-the-art tunnels, sleek stations, and all the promises of world-class connectivity, and yet it stops at Renforth Drive, a full 2.5 kilometers short of Pearson. Now, I know that Metrolinx will say they're studying options. They've left the door open for a future spur, a tunnel, maybe even a people mover of some sort. But what they're really doing is classic bureaucratic stalling. The political equivalent of answering, "we'll see." This study has been underway for years now, and there's still no plan, no funding, and no confirmed connection to the one place that practically begs to be served by rapid transit. Let's talk about why this is more than just an oversight. Toronto Pearson isn't a side attraction. It's the busiest airport in Canada, handling over 50 million passengers a year in pre-pandemic times. It's a major economic hub, employing hundreds of thousands of workers, not just at the airport itself, but in the vast airport employment zone that stretches across Mississauga and Etobicoke. This is a vital regional node, the kind of place where transit should have been built first, not as an afterthought. The Eglinton Crosstown West Extension was the golden opportunity to finally connect Toronto's fragmented, overstressed transit system to the airport in a way that's direct, reliable, and modern. The line already runs east into Midtown Toronto, to Mount Dennis, and eventually into the original Crosstown Line 5, and could one day link with the Ontario Line and other major corridors. But by stopping short at the airport, this entire project now risks becoming a $5 billion exercise in strategic underachievement. Let's imagine what could have been. You're a traveler arriving at Pearson. You walk out of Terminal 1, and there's a clean, safe, reliable light rail line waiting for you. It takes you directly to Eglinton West, Midtown, the Ontario Line, Line 1, and beyond. It's integrated with TTC, GO, and MyWay. One fare, one tap, no stress. Instead, you're likely to end up stuck on a MyWay bus to Renforth, then maybe a transfer to the LRT, maybe another one to the subway. It's a tangle of transfers that would test the patience of a Zen master. Now compare this to other cities. In Vancouver, the Canada Line links YVR Airport directly to downtown, opened in 2009. In London, the new Elizabeth Line connects Heathrow straight into the heart of the city. In Paris, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Chicago, even Minneapolis, airport rail is considered a basic ingredient in the recipe of a 21st century city. Here in Toronto, we're still reading the recipe while the rest of the world is already eating. And before someone chimes in with, "But we have the Up Express," let me be clear, that train is a band-aid, not a solution. It's infrequent, overpriced, and utterly disconnected from the rest of the GTA. It works if you're a downtown business traveler with an expense account. It does nothing for the 300,000 workers commuting from Mississauga, Etobicoke, or Brampton every day. The Crosstown West Extension could have changed that. Should have changed that. But no, we're too busy drilling halfway to the airport and hoping nobody notices. Let's also talk about environmental impact. Every day that we don't have a high-capacity transit connection to Pearson is another day that tens of thousands of people drive there. More cars, more emissions, more gridlock. And here we are, building LRT tunnels and not finishing the last 2 kilometers to the very place that would benefit the most from this modal shift. It's like buying a Tesla and refusing to plug it in. So then why isn't this happening? In classic Toronto fashion, the answer is complicated. A mix of overlapping jurisdictions, unclear responsibilities, cost avoidance, and lack of long-term vision. The airport is run by the GTAA, or Greater Toronto Airport Authority. Transit is split between TTC, Metrolinx, MyWay, and GO Transit. Funding comes from all levels of government, and none of them wants to foot the full bill for this project. It's the infrastructure equivalent of a group project where everyone insists someone else should do the conclusionary slide. Let's talk about politics for a moment, because you can't have a mega project in Ontario without political theatre. Doug Ford's government, never shy to grab a hard hat and pretend to operate a backhoe for photo ops, has claimed this extension as part of its $70 billion transit investment plan. They love to call it Building Transit for the Future, as if the present is just something we have to suffer through. But the truth is, most of this plan has no delivery timelines. And if we're being honest, the West Extension is being built more as a press release generator than a cohesive mobility strategy. And so, here we are, tunneling machines boring away, road crews ripping up Eglinton, residents dodging construction barrels, billions being spent, and the biggest transit opportunity in a generation is being quietly left on the table. Toronto doesn't just need the Eglinton Crosstown West Extension, it needs to go to the airport. Anything less is an insult to logic, to taxpayers, to commuters, and to the very idea of a connected city. Every world-class city has an airport rail link by now. Every modern metropolis understands that mobility and prosperity are joined at the hip, except Toronto, where we'll spend billions digging tunnels and still leave people stranded at the terminal, squinting at a map that doesn't quite go far enough. I hope that you liked the video. If so, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed and want to be notified of new videos that are released, please click on the Art Toronto button here. This is the video that I would recommend for you to watch next, and I'm sure that you're going to love it. Here's the playlist for all of the latest in transit news and views that you're going to find very informative and interesting. And finally, here's the latest video. Thanks for watching and happy transiting.